All right, our last section for today is again part of the Imagination Launchpad, and this is we've spoken earlier about the eliciting of transformation protocols, such as my shaving my head as a protocol example, because it's the beginning of a protocol and a process of transformation. But we're now going to be talking on the larger scale on how to stage the transformation. How do you go about putting one together? Because we all want to transform. We all want to be more and better than we are. And so this system allows us to do that. And here's basically the outline. The first thing you're going to want to do is isolate the parameters for your transformation. Mine in this case was a physical one. I'm changing the way I look by changing up my hairstyle. I'm changing up, if you hadn't noticed, there's been a slight change in my clothing and apparel. I'm going to be improving that over the next few months. I'm getting more into physical activity again. I've broken out my roller skates and things like that. These are all examples of parameters that are being put into place for my transformation. So for you, and your transformation, you're going to want to isolate the parameters. What is it you want to change? What is it you want to see transformed? What are you going to be giving up? You have to consider virtually all of the variables. Now, you can't, of course, possibly comprehend all the variables in the universe, but you want to consider the ones that you have a hand in, that you can actually touch and change. You want to develop a strategic timeline, and by that I mean not only what's going to happen, but when, in order, things should fall. Which ones are going to have a higher priority than the others? Which ones are going to be more directly impacting the change itself, and how many of them are the support steps? Now, in the case of many of the support steps, you want to take as many preparatory steps as you can. Before I started changing my protocols for my appearance, I had already got the new wheels for my roller skates, and I got the material for softening the leather and things like that, because brand new skates will tear your legs up like nobody's business. But you want to make sure you do those preparatory steps in advance of the protocol trigger, such as my haircut, so that when you make the commitment, it becomes an action. So in this case, the commitment action was shaving my head. So now that I've made that commitment action, now I can start to progress on all the other smaller victories. And as I do so, I'm going to reward myself as we go along. I'm going to be adding new features to my show. I'm going to be, as we build our audience, I'm going to be adding new benefits for you, the viewers. I want to increase my visual presence. I want to increase my audio quality. I want to improve my lighting. There's all these things that I want to be able to do to support what I'm doing for you, and I'm going to reward myself and the small actions that I make, the small victories that I attain, in order to justify those expansions. Now, of course, when you build your plan, you're going to want to allow for adaptation, because sometimes the things you plan, things you intend, change. And as they change and alter, you need to be able to make adaptations to your plan. But notice this also means you need to reset a temporal agenda. You need to say, this transaction, this transformation will have an end time. I will have accomplished the transformation by a point. And by setting a temporal agenda like that, you give your mind permission to adapt and change things on the way so that the accomplishments can occur within that time frame. Some things will have to be accelerated, some things will have to be adjusted. And the whole point is that a transformation is a permanent change brought on by temporary actions. And even temporal actions. Do things by a certain point. Now, all of this comes down to the actual process of transformation. And the transformation process is plan, act, record, assess. You want to plan what you're going to be doing to change. You're going to make the action. You're going to record for yourself in some fashion how that progress has occurred, and then assess the results in comparison with the agenda, and then make adjustments. This will lead therefore, to a new pattern. And the trick is then once you've established the new pattern, then you repeat the new pattern until it becomes routine. And ultimately, when you reach the end of your temporal agenda, time is up to analyze. Did we make the transformation? Was it full? Was it partial? Was it a wild success? Where were we on it? And once you've done that, now you've analyzed it, you can now look at whether or not an additional transformation along the same line needs to happen, or whether you can change and choose another process in your life to transform. So ultimately, it comes down to this. You need to follow one course until successful, but that one course still can have its trajectory changed. And so the point is to follow your one course until successful and adjust your course as necessary to achieve that final objective. And in this case, the final objective is an amazing life and an amazing games experience in everything that I do. So I want to thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to be closing out the show in just a few minutes. We made it 45 minutes. We're getting closer to the hour objective, which is another one of our transformational objectives. But here's the list of the shortcuts. If you're looking for information on the NycosRPG itself, check out NycosRPG.com for product info and to make purchases. If you're looking for information on the Nykos game world, you'll want to check out NycosRPG.info for story, lore, and so much more. Our Discord is linked down below, and you can join us there basically at any time, and we greatly appreciate you being there for our games on Saturdays and Sundays. And for more stories and info, check out both the other videos on twitch.tv/NycosRPG and our YouTube channel at NycosRPG. Until then, I want to thank you guys all for being here, and thank you in particular to our patrons and supporters who help keep us on the air. Check that out at patreon.com/join/Nykos, and I hope to see you all in the next episode. This is John Albin, Game Master J, and we'll see you next time.